But yeah, thanks Josh and Matthew. You guys did a great job. So give a round of applause to Josh and Matthew. I think it's also, we should give a big round of applause. Kat and I were in the position last year, but Sienna and Lindsay did a third. They're printed reps. They put a lot of work into this formal. Pretty much everything you see tonight was their hard work, so thank you guys. It looks beautiful. Yeah, great. Moving on. Alright, so I wrote a speech. It's quite thick. I'm not used to speeches. I said this before. I do a lot of improv, so I'll try to stick to my pages because I know I'm in a bit of a rush. But if I do have the pages, bear with me. First of all, thank you, Brayden, for keeping me sober enough for tonight's speech. Hopefully I can read the words I wrote. I know right now there's a couple of bets out there that I'll cry during the speech, and those bets are probably pretty accurate. And as much as tonight is a fun, crazy, insane, party-filled night, it also, for a lot of us, is a very emotional night. So I'll try to keep my bearings through the speech, but bear with me if I don't. All right, good. So. I was writing a speech this past week, and I was having a really hard time drafting it. And like I said, not because I didn't know what to talk about, but more so because I didn't know how to speak about our year and our past 4 years in just a 10-minute speech. In reality, as most of you know, I could easily give a 2-hour interactive PowerPoint presentation on our 4 years, and I would love to do that, but for tonight, I'll just give it to a 10-minute speech. But I think to start, it's probably pretty safe to say that all of us here, except for the dates, I don't care about you, everyone else who's been in PHEKIN for the past 4 years, I think it's pretty safe to say that we've come a very long way to get to this point. And to be very technical, we've actually come 1,300 days as of tonight. I wrote in applause, so I'm glad to get that. Thank you, Alina. But to me, 1,300 days is a very impressive stat. And just very quickly, I was speaking with Josh, who you all met tonight, my housemate Josh. I was speaking with him a couple weeks back. And he told me how everyone was asking him, you know, Josh, you're graduating your undergrad, what are you going to do? Like, what do you want to do now? People were asking Josh, where do you live next year? Josh, what do you want to be? Josh, what's next? And Josh was telling me this in one of our late night discussions, and he said, enough of this panic and this constant worrying and asking what's next. Let's take he told us to me, he said, let's take a deep breath, let's take a step back, and let's realize what we've actually accomplished. So, as weird as his weirdly bearded wisdom, as much as he was as weird about it, he's actually right, I think. So guys, as opposed to looking for what's next, I think it's important to know that, you know what, guys, we're graduating. Applause. Thanks. So, but we are graduating, so we can look to what's next. But you know what, we busted our asses for the past 4 years, the past 1,500 days, and I think that deserves that recognition. But like I said, we've worked a lot to get to this point, so let's just slow this thought for a little bit and recognize what we've been through to get here. For most of us, we've written about 30 final exams. We spent upwards of $2,000 in textbooks. We've had about 1,800 hours of classes. But specific to us, PHEKIN students, we've been yelled at by Bob Ross. We've been fondled by Dave Ross. Emma, where's Emma? There's a lot more better jokes, so just keep that. Anyways, we filmed. That's stupid. We filmed Pike's paper in second year. We had at least 3 not knowing when to end the conversations with Gerd. We heard about 40 hours worth of Melanie Mom talking about her sewing, her new at-home cafe, or her very sore back pain. We pretended to understand what Dr. Cote said to us, and we climbed about 5,000 sets of stairs because you know what, Mom, that's a damn free gym. So guess what I'm getting at, my dear housemate Josh Moulton, he was correct. We've been through a lot, and to me that's pretty incredible, and congratulations to you all for getting there. Moving on. How did we get here? It's definitely not accurate to say that it was all sugar rainbows to get to this point. It was definitely not a walk in the park, but it was also not a boring and slow time either. So what I want to do right now is quickly reflect back on these 4 years and reminisce with you all together on what we've been through. I remember in high school, my graduating year's valedictorian, he connected each grade to an animal, like grade 9, cats, grade 10, and so. So not to copy the idea completely, I decided to relate each year to a line from Punk Rock Anthem, because that's our year's song, to help describe each year's experience. So moving with that, the line for first year, so the lyric from Punk Rock Anthem to describe first year is half black, half white, don't know. Sorry, that's actually just the lyric for Josh. It's okay. Yeah. Moving on. The actual lyric for first year is "I'll rise to the top, no lead, no Zeppelin," and that's definitely correct for our first year. There really was no lead in our Zeppelin. Since day one of Camp Conto, I really believe that we gelled as a year. We made friends immediately and took off to my opinion, and I'm sure to most of your opinions, to be the most successful PHEKIN class ever. Now, I think Frosh Week is a part of our journey that is definitely worth mentioning in a bit more detail. As we all know, Frosh Week was an incredible, life-changing, and one-of-a-kind experience, yada yada yada. But it was also a time for all of us to make first impressions. And for most of us, our first impressions were full of compliments, but at the same time, so that's a verb. At the same time, our first impressions were a time full of judgments for one another. And I don't know what it is about me personally, but a lot of times my first impressions are very abstract, very different to how the person actually is. So I thought it would be a really fun idea to walk through Frosh Week through my eyes, and you can all experience my first time meeting many of you tonight. So, my Frosh Week. First of all, Sunday night, moving day. I lived in 2D in Vic Hall, and Sunday night I ended up in Jen Bev's room. She was the first speaker I met, and don't worry Jen, no bad impression about you. Everyone else, not so much. Monday, I meet Tom. Tom was on my floor at 2D, and I meet Tom, and immediately he offers to smoke a joint with him behind Vic Hall. I said no. Tuesday night was the night before Camp Conto. I see Danielle Underwood, who was at this point had both her eyes bruised. I think I probably flirted with her for a bit. And she said to me, "Hey bud, I got a brother on the rugby team, and if you keep flirting with me, they'll come and kick your ass." So Danielle was definitely the most friendliest Frosh I met. Wednesday, we go to the KHS, and I sit beside a guy named Mario, and I talked to him for a bit. And I talked to him for a while. I was very surprised to hear that Mario was from Richmond Hill and actually not from Jersey Shore. I made the unfortunate mistake of asking Mario how much he bench pressed. And instead of giving me an answer, he, in an Italian rage, he threw his pastrami sandwich at me. He picked up dirt with one hand and lifted chrome in the other and started benching them. And me and Tom went down together. They expected to pass to each other for a while. We hopped on the bus and I sat beside Chris Walton. Unfortunately, I sat on Chris Walton's right side, which is his deaf ear, so it was a pretty quiet bus ride. We got to camp, and I met the male version of Pocahontas, who later told me his name was Brandon. This is a pretty, to me it's the first sorry. We went to bed, and I shared a room with Drew, Styles, and Mark, and it was dark at the time. I didn't know who was talking at the time. So someone was telling me the trampoline experience and all the championships they won in their favorite trampoline jump. And this whole time I thought it was Whitman. So the next day I wake up and I see Whitman. And I told Whitman this. And anyways, I thought it was kind of funny that I thought Whitman was actually a trampoline. Look at the guy. Anyways, moving on. After I woke up, I walked down to the lake. I went for a swim. Ross Bailey took his shirt off and I blacked out for a couple of minutes. When I came to, I was on the dock, only to find Steve Miller preying on every girl at Camp Contest. We practiced the dance and cussed on and said, "Wow, Jacob, you're such a good dancer. You're so hot. Wow. Thanks, Joseph. Friday we moved around and we headed back to Queens. This time on the bus ride, I sat beside Rebecca Turner. She unfortunately fell asleep and didn't remember a thing. Most of all came the next day, and the team Scooby-Doo lost every game because while Jeff was being there. At the dance, I was there to hold a girl's hand, and I held Janelle's hand for about 6 minutes without talking to her. That was my dare. I think by the end, Alan slapped me in the face pretty good. But yeah, first year, Frosh Week ended, and I really think the magic of the class of 2015 began. At this point, Beth had wrapped to the class and joined me as first year rep. We shotgunned beers in res bathrooms, we danced in Half Water 2, we partied in Brick City or BK's house every weekend, and our friendships, bonds, and the tight-knit group of our year all started in first year. Excellent. Great. Second year. Our leader for second year. Where I drink, I got to go. And the reason I chose this lyric is because there was a lot of drinking in second year. All of us were in our own places, outside of the strict rules of res. For some of us, second year began with Coach Camping trip. Some of us ended topless in the lake. Some of us watched raccoons attack our sleeping area. And Beth reminded us all during the dance that, "You are gangster," she said. Yeah. Second year hit all of us hard though at the same time. First semester came and we faced the dark and scary reality that we had 15 midterms in one semester. It was definitely a grind. But as a class, we faced this battle beside one another, and for the most part, passed every exam. We definitely cheated on every nat bell ringer. And we switched sheets during stats as per demand by Savan, the midterm Nazi. But long story short, first year was a really great time, it was really fun. But it was a whirlwind, and it wasn't until second year where our friendships really strengthened and we increased the unity of the class of 2015. We kept sharing beers in Brick City, we laughed at anatomy, and came together to crush the TAs and water volleyball at beers. Third year, she on my job, non-stop, when we're in the spot. There's no relation, I sound like a stupid liquor. But yeah, great. Third year was a very different year for many very different reasons. We no longer, at this point, had classes together. We spent a lot less time together, and for most years before us, this is when a lot of smaller cliques started to develop, and the togetherness as a class started to fall apart. But I truly believe this, I'm sorry to those who are the previous speaking years, but I believe that we are most years. And this is what I am most proud of about our year, and I'm sure most of you share this pride with me, that we all took different electives, we saw each other less on a daily basis, but we never let that get in our way. We stayed close to one another, we said hi and engaged in conversation with everyone as we passed by in the KHS, and we definitely gave every group 100% on our motor learning videos. Sure we did, absolutely, get a bit more cliquey and formed friendships within smaller groups, but in the third year, it was where these friendships turned from good friends to best friends to friends for life. but we never lost our PHEKIN class spirit. We never lost that wonderful, energetic, and loving PHEKIN spirit. And now, before I get too emotional, I'm going to table this topic for the rest of the speech. Those of you on feet stand up. Yeah. All right. Moving on quickly, fourth year. The lyric for fourth year is, everybody just have a good time. September came, and we had already been through a lot at this point. We became so comfortable with one another, we were like 130 brothers and sisters. We stayed up late talking about girls, took groups with the door open, and cuddled up for rom-com Fridays. Maybe that was just my house, but we did that. But aside from the weird antics of our house, we were kings of the school. There was no one older than us. We called the shots. We said what was what? Fourth year, it brought us hard times too, though. Last year, undergrad means start applying for grad school, write your MCATs, or save money to travel. Either way, these tasks were an uphill battle that got steeper and steeper with every deadline approaching. Some of us are smiling now because we have already been accepted to the program we wanted to. Or we're going to travel flights or whatever you want to do next year. But on the other hand, some of us are still losing hair and sitting very comfortably at this point and like fake laughing because we're waiting to hear back from physio schools, from supervisors from schools abroad, or if your name is Mario, you're waiting to hear back from any program that will accept you.
I feel that.
But at the same time, fourth year for me, out of all the 4 years, was my personal favorite. As much as it was hard to perceive possible, we grew and became even tighter as a year. And we succeeded as well. After placing top 5 in second year, coming second in the third year, in fourth year we finally won the US. We called our names and we jumped to the gym floor to grab our championship shirts. Buick's, for me at least, holds a very special place in my heart. I'm sure for most of you does as well. Working so hard for the past 4 years and finally paid off when we finally won. I remember when we went here, you all came up to me one by one and you hugged me, and I was so amped up, I got really teary-eyed. Yeah, I cried after years. Then of course we went back to my house and you all chatted to put my shirt back on. But after Buick's, we took this energy and this fuel that we had created, and the 24 students who went on the King Games, who represented the King Games team, we prepped for our trip to Vancouver. And entering the weekend, we knew Queens was hated for their previous overly competitive and non-spirited attitude we had received in years past. It was our goal this year to change that perception and to prove to everyone that we were a great team from the best school. And after 2 days of city volleyball, ultimate frisbee, getting lost in Whistler, and storming a wall, we proved to the 30 teams across the country that Queen's PHEKIN was the single best program. One week later brings us to tonight, our formal. Our night to commemorate our 4 wonderful years together, to reminisce of the good times and talk about the future. And that's kind of been the point of my speech as to this point, to reminisce of the good times. And I like to say that, of course, we did have a very good time, and I can confidently say that as a year, we had the best time. As I was saying earlier, there's something very special about our year, something very profound, something very special about the relationships we made with one another, the way we had the best attendance at all PHEKIN events, and how we won Buick's PHEKIN Games for the first time since 2000. We are a very unique year, and that's for sure. And I know that the ladies in the UG office and all the profs will miss our positivity, our energy, and our readiness to learn. And as I've said many times tonight, we all made significant and sincere friendships with one another at our time. So, on that point, I can stand up here and I can rant to you about my personal friendships, about how Josh and I have had many hugs in our past 4 years, about how Beth has been one of the nicest people to me in my life. And always goes above and beyond to give to me. About Amit has inspired me to never give up and act and behave and respond to the things for the right reasons. How I stop by Paige's house about 5 times a day because she's one of the best listeners and lets me ramble on to her. how Mario and I spent every waking minute of the past year together, or how Brandon and I have never had a serious conversation that I would not change that for the world. But if I was to elaborate on any of those friendships, I think that'd be a little selfish of me. So instead, I think it's appropriate to talk about one friend, one very close friend who I've made over my past 4 years. This friend, simply put, is the nicest and most friendliest guy I've ever truly met in my life, and I mean that. He truly does not have a selfish bone in his body, and he is so generous and kind to his friends, day in, day out. Tonight, I decided to talk about Cam Douglas briefly, because I think out of everyone in our year, Cam has done the best job of getting to know all of you to some degree. So I hope that by me speaking to Cam just very briefly, all of you can connect to some level. Cam is the kind of guy who doesn't forget your name. He's also the kind of guy who will always say hi to you when he passes by, even if you're a friend of a friend, or if you're a friend of a friend or a brother who met Cam one time. Cam and I have bonded over the past 4 years, and I'm sure many of you have also had the privilege to do so. When speaking with Cam, it is very undoubtedly apparent that he is listening. And when I say listening, I really mean that. He's listening. He's not just hearing the words you are saying, but listening and caring about who you are, what you are saying, listening to every hard time you have, every funny story you want to share, and every daily inconvenience you want to complain about. Cam is the epitome of compassion. He cares. Never putting himself first, I'm positive that my friend Cam befriended all of you as well. Cam, I cherish our friendship, and I know that for certain, whether you be in Maine, be in Africa on QHO visiting your sister, or lost in the beautiful mountain of Whistler, that you and I will always make best friends. Cam. So to move on, well, my eyes are still dry. To wrap things up, I think it's time to say that our 4 years here have been a very wild and insane and very quick 4-year roller coaster. And this roller coaster ride is now coming to an end. And as accepting this truth may make you sad, and you may never want this ride to end, I want to encourage you tonight to face that reality with excitement. Sorry, cat. So everyone else, white cat, faces reality with excitement. For me personally, and I'm sure most of you agree as well, I couldn't imagine a better way to spend an undergrad degree than here, studying at Queen's, presented kinesiology, whatever it may be, with you guys. We are very fortunate to have accepted this program and taken part in this incredible journey. So now, sorry cat, let's look to the future. We are an incredible group of young adults who have collectively made such significant impacts with one another, to PHEKIN and to Queens. So let's keep making impacts. Let's keep making differences. Let's keep being awesome and amazing and building profound relationships with whomever we meet. I think it's safe to say that we all learned a lot here at Queens, and wherever we go now, let's bring these lessons, this energy and spirit with us. We have created an opportunity with one another to be great, whether that means to be the next head trainer for the next NHL team, to be the next phys ed teacher that makes a strong impact on the student's life, or to be the next Bob Ross, whatever it may be. We have given ourselves a tremendous advantage as deciding to enroll in the class of 2015 kinesiology or phys ed, and this advantage can be applied in the real world as a graduating PHEKIN. So friends, classmates, cheers to the best 4 years of our lives, and cheers to the PHEKIN spirit, close to our lives.